Good morning, everyone. I am here with Carl Martin, Executive Director for Real Champions Inc., and Ned McNair. He's Chairman of the Board for Real Champions Inc. My name is Ricardo, Program Director, and we want to have a conversation. We want to have a conversation with you guys and among ourselves. There's a lot going on in the world. And it's a bit challenging for a lot of people. So, what are you guys' thoughts on it?
As you know, I'm 80, and this is about the fifth, if I remember correctly, time that the cities of America have had columns of smoke over them, and that the whole nation has been shaken by the pain of racial inequity and poverty, and but if you've been around long enough, you're not surprised. What surprises me is that I think about 3 weeks ago, probably very few people were thinking about racial tension
Right.
and race issues, but now everybody's thinking about it.
And it's understandable on one end about what's going on in the streets and society, and I tell you what, I find comfort in that people who typically don't talk about these issues are now talking about it, because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And for me, I just don't want to talk about it. I want to do something about it. And I think that's where the pent-up frustration comes from. I think people want to do something about it. I just want to do something that really works for the long term, that really helps people and doesn't just self-promote.
Right.
So I love the fact that we get to speak in one voice.
Yeah.
Speaking is important, but to be here with you two men, that gives me a lot of comfort.
Carl, I think the other thing that we have to consider is no one can do it by themselves.
Right.
Right? Me as a black man, I can't solve these problems by myself. You guys as white men, you can't solve these problems by yourselves. So it takes a collaborative effort. It takes us working together as one voice, as one team, to solve these problems. You had a interesting situation happen a while ago while you were playing football. Tell us about this story.
Yeah, I know it was a long time ago, and everybody that knows me knows I'm going to relate something to Clemson. But I learned something. It's the truth. I'm going to wear orange and purple. But I learned something in 1980, just 15 years after civil rights movement, and 3 people were killed in Orangeburg, South Carolina, near my hometown. 1980. I mean, that was horrible. And I was just a 20-year-old learning, but on that team I played on in 1980, we were racially divided. And it was awful. We were an average, mediocre team. We played for Danny Ford. Second year there as a sophomore. But our travel team, which composed about 70 people, 35 were white, 35 were blacks.
Wow.
And we would actually ride 2 different buses to the stadium, to the airport, to get on a plane. And it was horrible. But then some of our leaders like Jeff Davis and Bill Smith, Mike Wade, decided we're going to intentionally do something about this. This is wrong. So we chose to ride the other bus. White guys chose to get on the black bus. Black guys chose to get on the white bus. And it brought our team together in total unity. It was amazing to see, because we weren't trying to self-promote. We were just trying to be a team and a family and love each other. The very next year, we won the national championship. 12-0, had the best team in the country. And I watched a very real situation. We became a team, unified, deeply loved each other, and that led to great success on the field and gave us a platform even to talk about it today. I know it worked because young men, took a step into somebody else's world, and it made a difference. I want to do the same thing. That's why I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. And many people are coming up with different solutions to solve these problems. But I think one of the biggest solutions, and you said it, deep love and being united, deep love, being united, deep love for people and being together. That's just something that's powerful within itself. Working together, being together to solve a very critical issue.
We've got to see each other as being on the same team.
Right.
And that's where some of the breakdown is that our history has got a lot of pain in it, lots of pain. Since 1619, we've been in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, we fought a huge war over this issue, and more people died in that war than all the other wars we fought put together. And then we tried a lot of other things. We tried Reconstruction, and then we tried Jim Crow, which was brutal, and then we've tried civil rights, and that's made a big effect, had a good effect. But all that leftover pain from slavery and now to the inequity in our communities, a lot of people are hurt. A lot of white people are hurt. A lot of black people are hurt. And we're not on the same team. We're not on the same bus, and we've got to change that. We've got to get on the same bus and on the same team.
Absolutely. Now, Real Champions Inc., I mean, we have to talk about this organization that has understood the power of deep love, the power of unity, the power of working together, and has decided we're going to do something about this.
Right, we sure have. And Carla and I have been working on this as a team for 5 years, and you joined our team a year ago, and we've got a strategy. And to tell the truth, our strategy we weren't really thinking about the racial division. What we were thinking about is poverty. But we always understood that if we solved the poverty problem, we would solve the racial problem. But when you solve poverty on the backstroke, you solve the racial problem.
Right, because a lot of the issues, especially when you start talking about systemic racism, it affects those in poverty.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and systemic racism, well, there's a lot of reasons for poverty. I mean, this is one of the big problems right now is when we start blaming whoever we want to blame for poverty. If we keep blaming, we're never going to be unified. We're never going to get on the same bus. We're never going to work together. So we've got to just stop looking for why and start looking for how do we fix this. And if we fix poverty, we fix inequity. And if you fix inequity, you fixed your racial problem.
But that means for me that I've got to take a step into somebody else's world and not come across like I really understand that world or I'm trying to change anything. I just want to treat somebody as a human being and say, you're important. I'm listening to you. Let's take action together. And we want to jump over all the politics. As you've said years, as you've taught me, we want to jump over politics to the children.
Right.
Jump over the barriers that are very difficult barriers, very real. But let's get in there with them. Start with the 6-year-olds, go deeper with them, but stick with them long term. Because the friends that crossed those racial lines 40 years ago are still my friends.
Mm-hmm.
They could walk in the room right now and we would hug because we deeply love each other, because we took time to step. And we did step, but we've kept those relationships long term. And I think long term relationships bring consistency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to go back to one of your points, Ned, and I agree with you, you know, at some point we got to stop saying it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. But when we talk about finding the solution, sometimes we have to talk about why it's the way it is in order to figure out how to fix the problem. I think the challenge is we're dwelling too much on why it is the way it is instead of just identifying it. Here's the problem. All right, now let's come up with some solutions versus it's your fault, it's their fault, and staying on that in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I think you're right. If the point is that to heal, and same thing about us coming together and working together and being friends together is to heal the pain that we've created. You know, slavery created a monstrous amount of pain, and so did Jim Crow, and so did prejudice, and the white community often doesn't feel that pain. We feel it right now.
Which is a good thing.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know how you say that's a good thing, but we feel it right now. And we need to understand our role in that. We need to put down our indifference,
Yeah.
you know. And that's a great thing about, you know, it's a really opportune time, isn't it? Especially for organizations like ours, because now we've got people thinking about the inequity,
Yeah.
the horrible inequity. And what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And so the major corporations and a lot of the entertainment companies, everybody's wanting to throw millions of dollars at this thing. What to do? Well, that's the interesting thing about our situation is we know what to do.
Yeah.
And we've got to innovate because what we've been doing hasn't worked, has it? I mean, there wouldn't be people in the streets, there wouldn't be columns of smoke rising over the cities, and we wouldn't have the statistical evidence like we do now that the poverty rate hadn't changed in 54 years, and that the number of people in poverty has gone up that whole time. So we've got to do something different, and I'm so proud to be with a group of people who have come up with a good strategy and really have got an in-depth way to stop poverty, which, as I keep saying, will stop racism.
So let's talk a little bit about that solution. You touched on it earlier. We are providing full-time, professional, salaried mentors. Now, what does that look like? Well, we're calling them advocate mentors. So our mentors will be an advocate for the most vulnerable children while mentoring the most vulnerable children.
Well, let's don't leave out the family.
And the family, right?
That's where I was going.
The advocacy part, you know, is where we've got to help mothers who are working 8 hours a day and commuting 3 hours a day and aren't there to nurture their children when they need it, you know, when they're very young. We've got to help that mother do what we know she wants to do for that child. And that alone is going to help break the cycle of generational poverty, because when you're working for hourly wages, it's very difficult to be there when your children need you. You need two incomes, and if you only have one, you're going to have a real problem with that child. It's terrible to say, but it's just the studies that have been done by the Harvard Early Childhood Development Center and many other organizations, the CDC, prove this. And so nurture and mentoring and proper nutrition, these things make a huge difference in the way a child's mind develops. And we've got to get to it.
So our motto is start earlier,
Right.
go deeper, and stay longer. Working with most vulnerable children, kindergarten, first grade, 5, 6-year-olds. But what I love best is the go deeper part. Like, we're not just scratching the surface of dealing with these children. We're trying to figure out where are the holes in their lives or their family lives. What's their strength, what their weaknesses are. And we want to develop those. We want to make those better by providing them a network of support.
Right.
A network of support, a team that would help them.
So our mentors, our advocate mentors, don't come in as know-it-alls. They come in to say, I'm a navigator and a guide. Let's build a team together with the natural mentors the children have in their lives and the wonderful young moms that are working 2 jobs. We come in to assist, that the mom's in charge.
Right.
We're not here to control or rescue, but here to stick with you and stay with you and offer whatever support you see is necessary.
They still drive the car.
Yes, they do.
We are literally backseat passengers, how can I help?
Through relationship.
Through relationships. That's right. Through trust building among these families, because it's one thing. You can't go into a person's home and say, this is what you need to do to make your family better. Truth is, they already know what they need to do. It's just hard for them to do it.
That's right.
So let's go in there. Let's be a support. How can we help? What can we do to get things the way you desire them to be?
And I'm glad you like to go deeper. You're the perfect person to be the program director. I like to start earlier.
Yeah.
Because to put in these precious children's minds the beauty of a healthy relationship, of a team that works together, diverse team of wonderful people. It's just a beautiful thought to me that these wonderful children can see and feel hope. Because I think, Ned and Ricardo, people have different definitions of poverty. And there's a poverty of, I don't have connections, I don't have hope, I don't have a way to achieve the things that I really want to achieve. But that beautiful team working together with the beautiful young child, to me, provides hope that starts at a young age. That's why I like the fact we work with first graders and work with the school district too.
Yeah. Because currently we do have a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with Jasper County School District. They know about our program. They're excited about us coming in and working with these kids. And lastly, is stay longer.
Well, one of us has got to talk about that.
Yeah,
That's right, indeed.
And children's minds develop in the womb all the way through their middle 20s. And this, again, is, we've tried to learn a lot about following the science during this COVID problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're trying to follow the science. Every study that's done about development of children understands that there are these periods when there's gigantic valleys and hills of development of the brain that runs from in the womb all the way to your mid-20s. And so we are going to stay with these children from kindergarten all the way through their graduation from high school. And we're going to provide a consistent, excellent, professional mentoring and advocacy experience for that child. And we're going to use mentors that stay with us for a long time and stay with those children for a long time so that they're not disappointed again by a broken relationship or somebody coming and going, in their lives. So start early, go deeper, stay longer. That's the formula. That breaks this cycle. We know other organizations that are doing this. It has a tremendously good effect. Graduation rates just soar. These kids avoid the juvenile justice system. These kids avoid early pregnancy. 3 things that they would normally get involved with, since we're dealing with the children with the most needs at home and the most needs in the school. So we're really taking kids whose horizon would normally look like drug abuse, perhaps gang membership, certainly school failure, early pregnancy, and we're changing that horizon to where it's a horizon of hope, a horizon of vision, a horizon of aspirations, and a horizon of success. And that's how you beat generational poverty. You beat generational poverty or any other kind of poverty, and you get rid of a lot of our social problems. Almost all of our social problems are related just to that, including school performance. If you're worried about school performance, this is how you change school performance.
So then it goes back to our original conversation. We can't do this by ourselves.
No, we sure can't.
We have to do this together. We are doing it together, but we also need others to join with us and help us in this mission. There's several ways people can help. So, Carl, I want you to talk about some of the ways that others can do this together with us.
Well, first of all, we have to solidify a pilot project in Jasper County. And it requires us to put 4 advocate mentors on the ground starting this school year, and that's going to cost $200,000. That's really step number 1. And step number 2 will be, let's put more mentors on the ground. Because every mentor we put on the ground, our mentors work with 8 children. So we want to put as many as possible. And we want to stay long term. So that means that same 200,000 has to come the next year and the next year. So it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that it's expensive because there's plenty of money out there.
Well, and you know, it might be expensive, but it's more expensive to not do anything.
Sure is.
Right.
Well, all the studies that have been done by other nonprofits say that it's 7 times more expensive to not intervene in a child's life than it is. You know, prison's expensive.
Yeah.
So is riots, but riots are expensive. You know, having a child out of wedlock and not having support and going on the welfare program, that's expensive. And when you add all that up and take the taxes not paid and so forth and so on from, you know, being underemployed or unemployed, it always comes out somewhere around 7 times more expensive than so every dollar that we spend, the community will receive $7 back. And I would like to say other things that we need to, you know, we need people to think along with us, consider what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Go to our website, realchampionsinc.org, and look it over. See what you think about it, you know. Is it innovative? Is it something that's really going to do the trick that nothing else has done? And that's a huge assertion to make, you know, that for the last 54 years, actually it's been 56 years, hasn't it, since 1964, that the poverty rate hadn't changed. It's bounced between 11 and 15% that entire time. So we have to innovate. We have to do something new. We have to start earlier. We have to go deeper. We have to stay longer.
Yeah.
And think along with us. Look us over. And then there are other ways you can participate. We need friends. We need board members. We've got some great board members.
Absolutely.
We need more board members. We need advisors. Our board of advisors got some great people on it. We need donors. We need volunteers. So there's a lot of ways people can get involved, and we're dying to have them get involved, aren't we?
So to answer the question that a lot of people are having, what can we do? What can we do? We just gave you a list of things that you can do. And you can start by going to our website, realchampionsinc.org, or even visit us on Facebook, Real Champions Inc. And then spread the news. Tell your friends and your family about what we're trying to do in Jasper County, starting here, but going across the state. You know, we don't want to just help the kids here. We want to help the kids all over the state of South Carolina.